What's going on, guys? BGG Crypto here. If you like crypto mining, if you like crypto, hit the subscribe button, hit the likes, leave us a comment below. In today's video, we are going to be putting this stuff to use right here. We've had some of this stuff laying around for a couple months now, and you know what? At some point I never understood how people just have stuff laying around, but I totally get it. Man, life gets you get busy, and this stuff just lays around and is not making you money, but we're gonna get to it. We're gonna throw this all together, do a little CPU miner build that will eventually host some GPUs, but for now it will be a solo CPU miner, so stick with us. All right, guys, so here we go. We got a MSI B450 motherboard, AMD Ryzen 9 3900X CPU, couple sticks of RAM, cooler and heatsink, power supply, SSD with Hive already flashed on there. And so yeah, let's get to building this bad boy. So we're gonna take the motherboard out, start getting the CPU in there, attach the heatsink and cooler, throw the RAM in, and then we should be able to get this thing powered all up. So let's get to it. All right, so we got motherboard out, heatsink already has thermal paste applied. There's our CPU. First thing, you're gonna want to take this little lever here, pop it out to the side, flip it on up there, grab your CPU. Now there's going to be a little indicator on the corner. You could barely see it in this bottom left corner right there. See the little dot there? That's going to match up with the indicator on your motherboard. In this case, you can see there's a little indicator in that left corner. So you're going to pop it in there. So you're going to basically drop this right in there, give it a little wiggle, make sure it's seated good. You're going to slide this down and in. CPU's in. So now with the heatsink, basically you're gonna want to hook this little attachment there onto there, and there's another one on the other side. The other side has a lever though, so you're gonna want to hook the non-lever one on first, and then the levered side, and then basically flip the lever down to tighten it down on there. Make sure you have enough length in your CPU fan and RGB cable there to get to whatever, you know, header you need and so on. So make sure that's all done right. So let's see if we can do this one-handed. So we're gonna hook that on there, and then basically grab this other one, move it out of the way, and there you go. So now the lever side's hooked on there, and basically you're just gonna take this lever and you're gonna flip it over, and it takes a little bit of force. It's gonna feel like almost like you're breaking the thing, and then it'll toggle over. You'll hear it click like that, and then you can flatten that guy out there if you want, and voila, there you go. CPU and heatsink are connected. So we're gonna attach this guy, CPU fan, to our CPU fan header here, and then RGB will go to our RGB header, which is right here. And there you go. CPU's all hooked up. Now we are going to throw our RAM in there. Now you can tidy these cables up. We will in a little bit. You know, something like that there. Keep them out of the way. But now here's your RAM. Now keep in mind you got a short side and a longer side, so make sure you stick it in the proper way. And you're gonna want to read your manual on your motherboard to make sure you use the right slots. They're not going to be side by side usually. You'll probably skip one and so on. Some motherboards need two. Some motherboards only need RAM. If you're CPU mining, you're probably going to need 2 sticks of RAM, unless you're doing Raptorium to get away with 1, but you're just better off having 2. That way you can switch to a different algorithm or something if you wanted. But yeah, so in our case, if you look closely, you know, it says first use this slot here and then skip one and the next slot. So let's get these guys all installed. You're gonna pop these clips open, and then we are just basically gonna slide this guy right on in there. And then you basically just push down and you'll hear a little click. Other side, click. And then we will do this one. Open them up. And there you go. Kind of toggle it back and forth. Click, click. And there you go. So now we got fan and CPU and RAM installed, and that's basically it. So we're gonna hook up our 24 pin, our CPU power over there to the PSU. Now keep in mind, guys, depending on what processor you have, you may have onboard graphics, you may not. We do not have onboard graphics, so we are going to have to throw a graphics card on this motherboard so we could pull graphics and make sure it gets booted up properly and so on, and then we'll pull that card off and only run it as a cardless rig for a while. That way Hive doesn't recognize it as a GPU rig and we don't have to pay as much, you know, because a CPU miner is like only 10 cents or something a month or whatever the case it was, I can't remember, whereas a GPU rig is like $3 or whatever a month. So we're gonna do that. So let's get this power supply out, and then let's get that all connected up, and then we'll pull a GPU from one of our rigs to get all set up. And yeah, so let's get that going. All right guys, so we got PSU hooked up, CPU power, 24 pin on the back side. What we're gonna do here is we're just gonna flip this guy on, and basically we are gonna do a little dry run here to make sure everything's working properly, you know. That way we're just gonna flip it on, make sure our CPU fan goes and turns on. So let me get here, I forgot I didn't have a switch on here, so I'm gonna get my handy little fix-it kit here, that way I could jump the jump start it. So let's get that. That's all good, and we're all connected there. Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's flip this PSU on. That's good. Awesome, awesome. All right, and it should be these 2 pins here, so let's see. There we go. Woo, looks like it's all working and fired up. So let's flip it back off. There, we know it's all firing up, all good and so on. So now we are going to get our SSD plugged in. We're going to find a card, get that plugged in, and hook it up to a monitor and see what we can get to pop up there, so stick with us. Alright guys, so we got GPU hooked up, we got SSD hooked up, monitor going to GPU. So let's fire this bad boy up and see if it will display anything. Nothing yet. However, it does look like it's GPU's spinning, fan spinning. Oh, we are getting display. Alright guys, so we got our keyboard and mouse here hooked up, so we are just going to, it says devices have changed, or CMOS has been cleared. Basically, please enter setup to configure your system or press F2 to load default values and continue. For now, we're just going to press F2. Probably rebooting here. Just wait for it. Here it goes. And there's the grub. Hive OS is doing something. And there it goes. Voila. Awesome. So Hive picked up. All is good. We are gonna get this rig turned off and basically moved over to the shelf in our corner. We got to jump on Hive and create our rig so it can log in, and basically, you know, from there on we should be good to go. We'll go and jump in Hive after that and get it all set up in mining. So stick with us. Alright guys, so we got it all moved over. Monitors back there, Ethernet's hooked up. Everything is all set up. So let's basically get this thing fired up. After we get it fired up here, we are going to jump on the computer now basically and jump on Hive real quick. And basically we need to create our rig because we haven't even done that yet. So we got to go and jump on Hive, create our rig, and you know, punch in the ID and password and get it to remote connect and set up so we can pull that GPU off there. So let's jump on Hive and get that all set up. Alright guys, we're in the BIOS here real quick. I just remembered I did want to enable 4G decoding. So I'm just gonna go up to the search bar here, 4G, type there, it pops up. We're gonna go enabled, and that should be good to go. So that was the one main thing I wanted to change there real quick, you know, before we get this thing booted up. So make sure you do that. All right, awesome. Hive booted up. Error worker not found. This SSD was used for a different rig at one point, so we're gonna run the first run command and then basically jump on the computer here and get our worker all done up in Hive, and then punch in the password and username, and we should be all good to go. So let's do a jump on the computer real quick and get that all finished up. All right guys, so here we are on Hive. We're gonna go up to the plus sign up here, add worker. Add rigs. Install Hive OS to your rig drive. No, we are going to connect existing. Alright, so now there we go. We got our new rig set up. So we're gonna go punch in this rig ID and password and get this thing all connected to Hive, and then we will jump back on here. So let's go over to the rig real quick. Alright guys, we're back at the computer. We are gonna run the first run command there, and basically type in our rig ID and password to get this thing all hooked up. So bear with us here a quick second. Alright, there we go. We ran the first run command. Now server API URL came up. So we are connected. Press enter. Now it's asking for our rig ID. So let's get that all punched in real quick. Alright, we got our rig ID and password plugged in. So we'll hit enter. Let's go. No, we don't want to change the password. And there we go. Happy mining. Alright guys, so there we are. We have it all connected. It's showing up. We're gonna pull this GPU out and get it restarted. That way we can basically get this thing mining and not have to pay the full amount for a GPU rig and only a CPU rig. So let's go. Let's change the name of this thing first. It's got that funky name. Let's go CPU rig. Oh, didn't apply it. Update worker. There we go. That's all good to go. Ooh, I don't like that. Let's go RI. Update worker. Overview. Awesome, awesome, cool. Let's go get this thing shut down. We'll pull the GPU off of there now that we know it is connecting. All good to go, and let's start mining. So give us a sec here. Alright guys, we're back over here. We're gonna pull this GPU out of here, get rid of it. Set it aside right there. No GPU, and now let's fire this thing back up. Woo. Look at all that horsepower right there. I'm talking about the lights, of course. Awesome. So let's go jump over back on the Hive and see if it pops up. Alright guys, we're back over here. It wasn't showing up in Hive OS. It wasn't getting connected. And there you go. We got an indicator light. You can't really see it, but it's a VGA, video graphics. It's not allowing it to boot because it's not recognizing any video graphics. There's no onboard graphics, no graphics card, so it's not allowing it to boot. So we're gonna plug this graphics card back in, jump in the BIOS, see if we can maybe find a setting to disable the graphics so it will boot. So let's see what we can find. Alright, so here we are in the BIOS. Looks like we could have found it. VGA card detection on auto. We are going to ignore that. We're gonna do that, see if that does it. It seems like it will, so let's give it a shot. We're gonna power this thing down, disconnect that graphics card, and fire her back up. So stick with us. All right, guys, that ended up working out. We are now online. So basically, we just, ignored that video card detection setting. So it just passed right through. So let's get started here. We'll click on our CPU rig here. Basically, to get rid of that GPU, change your quantity of cards to 0. So it doesn't recognize it as a GPU rig. We're gonna go over here. Hopefully you guys already set up an XMR wallet. We are gonna be doing Monero Ocean. You guys could do whatever CPU coin, but for this one, we'll do Monero Ocean. It is a profit switching algorithm that basically benchmarks your CPU and searches for the most profitable algorithm for your given CPU. And it'll switch if it finds something that's more profitable and so on. That way you're hopefully getting the highest profit. So make sure you set up your XMR wallet. Basically what we're gonna do here is we're gonna set up a new flight sheet. Let's see here. Let's go to flight sheets. And we're gonna go XMR, and then we're gonna go Monero Ocean for the pool. Now right here you're gonna select this pool. It is the only one. However, drop this down. You're gonna want to change this port. If you go to Monero Ocean website here, under the fact, you can see all the different ports. Now default Windows will run this 2000 to 4000 here, this 10128. Hive will not. They just basically are right here, which is a 50 to 50 hashes or 5 to 50 hashes a second difficulty or whatever. So that's definitely not where we're gonna want to be. We're gonna want to use this one right here. So make sure you change this over just like that and apply. And then you're gonna select a miner. We're gonna go XMR rig new, setup miner config. We are gonna be using CPU huge pages, so make sure you drop that in there. Drop all that in there. Now when you hover over, you can just click on this. It'll automatically drop it in there. We want these parameters in there. And then you're gonna wanna scroll down to miner fork here and click MO for Monero Ocean. And all else should be good. You should be able to click apply changes and name the flight sheet. We're gonna go Monero Ocean and create flight sheet. And there we go, right there at the top. So let's go back to our workers, CPU rig, and flight sheet. Let's go Monero Ocean, hit the rocket ship, and there we go. It should be starting. Let's get Hive Shell going and see what's going on in there. Now it should, when it gets started, it should just go to a benchmarking setting. It's going to start benchmarking it and find out what algorithm to run and so on. So that takes about 5 to 10 minutes or so. So let's check it out. And type in miner, and here you go. Config, Alco, Ghostwriter preparation, going through here. Preparation, so yeah, it's going through the benchmarking now. So you can see the different algos, you know, as it goes through here, it's testing them, each one, and going through them. And then eventually, once this finishes up, this thing will start mining and you guys will be all good to go. All right, guys, here you go. You could see it finish its benchmark, and now we are getting some accepted shares and so on here. It picked algorithm ghostwriter there, so you can see, and we're good to go. You're all finished up. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Hopefully this helped you out or answered some questions. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We'll try and get you helped out or send you somewhere where we think you may be able to get some help. So make sure you leave a comment below, hit the likes, and subscribe so you can check out any future videos. Appreciate it, guys. We'll catch you next time. Peace.